everyone. We are pleased to bring you some very esteemed guests today to really discuss in depth what has changed and what is really the current state of the modern housing market. So this morning, I'm Meg Garrido. This is my business partner, Scudowitz. We've got Edward Hudson from Morris Manning Martin, closing attorney.
Good morning. Good morning.
And we have Keith Spain from Bank South.
Good morning.
Okay, so as everyone knows, there has been a huge change in the market. And the most pressing question that people have right now is, what's the market like? Have you taken a huge hit? I mean, I see everything on the news. So what I think is really important is that we dive deep and we talk about our localized market. Atlanta is its own space and it's its own neighborhood-centric market. So we have a couple of questions and I want to go around the table and talk to everybody and see kind of what their take is on everything. So first, the question is, what has changed in your specific business? Any new policies, protocols, etc.? So first, I'll start with Lauren. What do you think?
So I've been in the business for a little over 10 years, and I'm seeing us swing back to some of the same approaches that I saw right after the 2008 crash. So my buyers right now are really spending a lot of time pre-qualifying properties, meaning they're doing their due diligence up front prior to seeing the home in terms of researching school districts, commute times. We're spending a lot of time on Google Earth, looking at, what's around the house prior to running out and actually seeing the home in person, which I think is such a great thing to do, because in the last couple of years, buyers, when it was a seller's market, felt the need when a new listing came on to jump in the car and run out and see it. And they really did the analysis after getting in the home. So I think it's a great use of time for me and my clients.
Excellent. Okay, Edward, I'd love to get your take.
Well, the two big things that have changed in our area, I think, are one, which is probably rather obvious if anybody's done closings, is the delivery of closing services. How's that happening? And the two big things we're seeing that are new and different is, one, the ability often to actually do a closing now in Georgia via, say, Zoom or some other audio-visual mechanism, which is quite different, because in the past, our law has always been that a witness and notary have to be physically present where someone is signing a document to be witnessed or notarized. Well, with the governor's emergency order and the Supreme Court's emergency order, now we're able to do that via, say, Zoom, for example, where the parties are able to sit at their home. I'm able to get on a Zoom call with them, go over everything with them, just like we're sitting at the closing table. And then second, they send it back to us, and then we're able to witness and notarize a wet signature when it delivers back to us. It's not remote online notary. There's a lot of misunderstanding about that. It's actually what's called RIN, which is remote signatures that are actually remote ink signature notarizations, what it really is, which is quite different than RON. But anyway, that has been a big difference. And I think a lot of people are kind of liking it, really. And then also, the second deliveries, it has been curbside. I mean, I feel like we need to put on roller skates and bring French fries. I mean, it's crazy. You go out to a car and because no one wants to go into an office, nor do we really want people in the office. So we have people drive up, basically take it out to them. They sign it in their car, give it back to us, which, I never thought we would see that day, but here we are. So those are the two ways I think delivery has changed. And I think the second thing that has changed is all of a sudden this big emphasis on safety. You never really thought that you'd have to think about safety and health with regard to closings. I've never really thought that I was in some sort of high risk sort of industry. And so all of a sudden now you have to really pay attention. How do we keep people safe? It matters. And so that has become a concern. And so I think those are the two things. The delivery of services and also the emphasis on safety.
Okay, great. Keith Spain, we'd love to hear your take. We know there's been plenty of change for you.
Well, yes, there have been. Yes, there have been. So I'd kind of like to echo what Lauren was talking about. We're kind of back to 2008, 2009 guidelines. We're a little more conservative with lending at the moment, particularly if you're at a higher price point for jumbo mortgages, or if you're at the lower price point for FHA loans. Those two seem to have been the most impacted by the changes. Conventional loans, underwriting is a little tighter, but not much. We're kind of the same as what we were months ago with conventional loans. One of the big improvements for conventionals, all purchase loans now will allow for a drive-by or exterior-only appraisal. So any conventional deal, the appraiser doesn't have to access the house for their safety, for the homeowner's safety. So that's improved our turn times tremendously, which, given the fact that there are now multiple offers in that middle price point, that's helped us a lot. One of the big things we're also doing is if our client works for a small business, we're having to verify that the business is still open. What do they do specifically? Are they in danger of losing a job within the next 90 days? So we're doing a little bit more due diligence on that front. Now, let's talk about pricing. It really is the best we've ever seen. So conventional loans, as of today, we're bouncing around between 3% and 3.25%. We've never seen rates this low. So, I mean, you literally can buy a $600,000 house and have the same payment as a $750,000 house 3 months ago. So that has been tremendous. And we're seeing a big uptick again in that $450 to $750 price point. Things have been great there. Turn times, still fantastic. We're on about a 10-day turn for loan approval and appraisal. We're still closing loans in about 18 days. The only thing that's taken us longer is if you're doing a construction loan, we really are exercising a lot of due diligence there. So that's kind of the current update as to where we are.
Excellent. Okay. The one thing I would say for me in my business is first and foremost, laying the groundwork and really communicating so heavily with all of my clients, my buyers, my sellers, and what they can expect in the current market. And the biggest thing that I've changed for sellers would be a strong vetting process to ensure their safety, right? So we've got plenty of protocols in place, wiping down all the light fixtures, wiping down all the handles, ensuring all the lights are on, ensuring all the doors are open. So there's a no-touch policy for anyone who comes in the door. And then also really making sure that anyone that comes in the door, if the home is occupied, they are pre-qualified or they can send proof of funds, which you may get some friction on, but it's really to ensure that our sellers are very comfortable with anyone coming through the house. And it may result in less showings. We've seen that, but these are very intentional buyers and very intentional sellers, which makes for a better marketplace, in my opinion. So that's the update for the first question. Loved everyone's answers. The second question would be, what do you see that actually has remained the same? So we'll go ahead and we're going to switch it up. We're going to go with Edward first.
Okay, great. In regards to what remains the same, people still wanted their deals closed. They still want them closed. They still want them on time. They still want them funded in a hurry. So that has not changed. So so the challenge is, how do you do that? How do you continue to get people's deals done in a timely fashion, and at the same time, like we mentioned earlier, do it in a safe way? How do you do that? So that's really the challenge, because the desire is still the same. It's just a matter of how you do it safely. And I'm finding that it can be done. It just takes a little more planning up front. Kind of similar to things all three of you are talking about. It's more upfront planning. It's more upfront communication making sure we all kind of have a plan. Okay, how's this going to work? What are we going to do? How's this going to go? As long as we do that, it's all working fine.
Great. Okay, Lauren, we'll bounce it back to you.
So, I have always focused my business on referrals, right? So I don't do any advertising. So in order to maintain a good group of continuous clients, I have to deliver, impeccable customer service, both to buyers and sellers. So that has not changed in the current market. How I'm delivering the best customer service probably has shifted a little. I mean, we're getting more creative with providing, videos, digital floor plans, walkthroughs, all of those types of things to ensure that we're getting the most visibility on our listings. From a buyer perspective, it means spending a lot more time on the phone, talking to them, about whether it's lending or what are the steps to a successful closing. I mean, we're just spending more time with our clients right now, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Keith.
So what has stayed the same? Okay, well, that's a harder question than the first one. So I think I would have to stay with our turn times. So shockingly, they've not changed. So we're still on the exact same turn times as before. Other than that, I think I'll have to stick with, we've had those changes from earlier. That's about the only thing that has stayed the same in mortgage lending right now.
Sure. Which we love your turn time. That's why we always call you. Okay. So I think, kind of echoing what Lauren said, for me and my business, we are so client centric, and we also temper that with knowing that the market hasn't changed and what they're demanding from a property. So any listings that we've had, I recently had 2 that we put on the market. The sellers were incredibly nervous and trepidatious about, given the current market, are we going to sell because people don't want to come in? So, it's still the same demand as a beautifully renovated home that is turnkey, that offers people the space where they can envision themselves without all of the clutter. So that's something that I think that we do really well. We come through, we declutter, maybe we've got our masks and our gloves on at this point, but we're still providing that same level of service to our sellers, and ensuring that their property shines in its best light, just like we did before. So that to me is the same in what the market is demanding. All right. So last question. I love to kind of take a crystal ball and see what you all think about predictions for what the future will hold after we've all come out of this, shelter in place, and what has your brain been telling you as to what we can see in the future? So I'll go with Keith first.
No. Well, so as far as the mortgage business goes, we are hoping that we see a big thaw in the capital markets by the end of the summer. And when I say capital markets, I really mean jumbo loans. We are hoping that our pricing and the guidelines will loosen back up after we work through the stay-at-home piece. The stay-at-home piece is what's been so damaging to the economy and to lending. So we think by the end of the summer, things will return. No guarantee, just an opinion. And, the housing market was red hot prior to 6 weeks ago, and we think we'll return to that once we're over this hump.
Excellent. We love that positive information. Okay, Lauren, what do you think?
So, I've been doing buyer consultations and listing presentations via Zoom or FaceTime. And it's awkward the first time, I admit it, but it actually is a really great use of time. I used to always offer to meet buyers for coffee. And by the time, you drive there, you wait, you have coffee, you sit in traffic to drive back, it's consumed your morning. So I think it's been so refreshing to be able to do these back to back and just knock them out. And I think the feedback across the board has been very positive. So I think we are going to see people leveraging this type of interaction as opposed to in person. Maybe not in all scenarios, because walking through a house, creating a punch list over FaceTime was much more difficult. But on the buyer side, I think we're going to see it here to stay.
Love that. Okay, Edward, tell us.
Okay. I mean, I would echo a good bit of what Keith said and a good bit of what Lauren said, because number one, I do think the market will come back. How long is that? I don't know. I mean, Keith said a couple of months. I hope that's the case. I really don't know. But I do think it will come back. And you think about the factors, at least that in my simple brain look at to predict the market. I look at interest rates and job growth. Well, of course, we've had big downturns in jobs right now, but I think once those jobs start coming back, as long as rates are good, I think you'll see a really good, healthy market coming back. And I think that's what we all need to be looking for. And then I would say, piggybacking on what Lauren said, I believe that the electronic changes that we've seen both on the realtor side, the lender side, as well as in our closing delivery, they're here to stay. They are not going away. There may be some bumps in the road and this and that, figuring out exactly what that looks like, but it is here to stay. We will see that. And so because of that, what does it mean for all of us and people in our industries? It's going to mean those of us who are able to figure out how to deliver quality services and a premium experience through those vehicles are going to be able to capture a much bigger part of the market share that's out there and going to grow our business far more by using those tools. Just like Lauren said, instead of going to the coffee shop and taking up a good bit of time, all of a sudden, boom, you're having 3 or 4 meetings audio visually, and you've hit 4 clients as opposed to 1. So I think that the people who are able to figure that out, it's going to make a big difference. And that's going to include on our side as well. I don't think there'll be as much emphasis on the big conference room table with a big bowl of candy as it will be, how can we deliver this electronically and make it happen? And I think that's what we're going to see.
But we love those snacks at the closing.
You understand. So the question will be, how do we deliver those remotely?
We'll have a carrier pigeon drop them.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a drone. It's going to be a drone. We're going to have drones deliver candy to you at your house right before you do your Zoom closing. Bring your documents and your candy. And maybe even a bottle of water. You never know.
Hey, I like that. I think, kind of what I've been contemplating was a much more robust virtual reality platform for people to be able to walk in the door of a home without actually walking in the door. We've all seen, the goggles that you put on and you walk through, but to really be able to see that utilized in homes now, I think that's the next big frontier, because you think about so many people that are investors from overseas or a different state, and what an incredible way for someone to be able to say, yep, don't even need to fly over, this is the house for me. So I think that is really going to be the next big thing. And then, something that we jumped on, we moved fast on, we did videos instantly with walkthroughs, voiceovers. Lauren did an incredible virtual caravan. She was one of the first. She was a pioneer. So, just really moving with the market and understanding, hey, houses still need to be sold. Buyers still need to find a place. And I think more than ever, home is going to be so important. We're getting rid of so many commercial spaces where offices are. We're working from home. And if it's not the right fit, trust me, I've had plenty of people call me and say, I can't do another video conference in this space. Help me find a house. So I think those things are pretty cool to think about. And it's exciting to think about those things. But I just want to close and say thank you. Obviously, everyone here is well respected in their industry and has a vast knowledge as to what the future could hold, and then also how we're navigating this in the most professional way. So thank you, everyone. We want to thank Keith Spain from Bank South. We want to thank Edward Hudson from Morris Manning Martin, and of course my business partner Lauren Sketowitz, and I'm Meg Garrido. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Meg.